to Hans Ippisch, a veteran from the German video game and computer game industry. Hello, Hans. And this time not from Computec Media Publishing, but from Intellivision Entertainment.
Yeah.
So you made a career change.
Yeah.
How did that start and why? Were you sick of what you did the past 30 plus years?
No, not at all. Of course, when we met last year, I didn't know that this would happen. But actually, sometimes things happen and you know what's going on. And the reason for that was I was asked by Tommy Tederico last year already if I would like to join the advisory board of Intellivision. They were working on Intellivision Amico at that time already. And so I was involved in Amico since day one already. So and it was really a pleasure working with people like that, David Perry and all that stuff. So I was part of that advisory board already. But more and more Amico grew. I got interested in it, and actually as there was the question what we could do in Europe, I always thought that I would be a part of that, probably at Computec. But one day Tommy asked me if I think that we could develop games here over in Europe, and and actually that made me thinking, and so I was looking for studios, and then and suddenly I was in the middle of making games for Amico. And it was so exciting because the concept of Amico is so exciting that I had to make the decision what I want to do with the rest of my life. And that was the reason to work on games like Moon Patrol, for example. That was amazing, but I had to decide if I want to stay at Computec or do this. And actually, I moved to Intellivision, and I'm still in good terms with Computec. I see the colleagues every day. I'm also next to them in Nuremberg, so everything is fine. But now basically I'm going back to my roots. I started as a games developer in 1986 and made a lot of games. And now forget about the 28 years between, and I'm back in games development, and it's really amazing and it feels great.
We always talked about the development of game industry from a retro perspective, and now you are part of the retro gaming development scene in a way again.
Yeah. So, but I want to make sure we are not. Intellivision Amico is not a retro console. That's very important. We are not competing with the next PlayStation or the next Xbox, but we're also not a retro console. We are a family entertainment console, and what is retro is we are going back to the roots of gaming, of core gaming. That means simple games, easy to pick up, for everyone, and also when it's affordable. That's what is retro about Amico. That we take. What I did the last I've read some interviews I gave in the past years, and what I always said, I only want to play games so I don't have to read the manual. So that's the reason why I played Sega Rally, Virtua Fighter, Earthworm Jim, all that stuff. And so basically that's what we are doing here with Amico, that we are having games that everybody could pick up and start. And so and nowadays all the games are quite complicated, and the controls and everything is really hardcore. And that's not a negative thing, that's fine. But there are so many people out there that prefer to play simple games. And for example, when I'm sitting in an office now in Nuremberg, I'm giving Moon Patrol. So officially we didn't mention the name, but I'm playing Moon Patrol when I have a break and give it another try, and it's a lot of fun. And then 3 minutes later I continue working. But these are the kind of games where that billions of people play on the smartphone, but you can't find these games on the consoles out there. Of course, you could find them in the eShop or online. You could find millions of products, but it's not curated. And with Intellivision Amico, we have a clear vision what we want to offer. We want to have sports games, we want an arcade game, we want to have a board game. So we want simple games, entertaining for anyone. That's really our target.
So to make a summary, you mean that the games are not retro, but the concept is retro. The concept
Absolutely,
of easy
You're right.
games,
Yep.
easy to understand.
So Leo and I at DEFCON on Monday I had a presentation, and we are going back to the roots of gaming. The roots of gaming is really, that's retro, but absolutely, you're right.
Even David Fox was at DEFCON and held the presentation.
Yep.
And you also told me personally that you would like to meet and work together with David Crane, who's one of your heroes, you told me once.
Yeah.
And do you actually consider asking your past heroes to work on that? Because David Crane was exactly the person who left developing games because new games are too complicated and need too much budget to develop them. And if you have easy concept and a lower budget, maybe you could convince your old heroes to work for you. Is that in your plans, or is that something you can't talk about?
So
what you have in the making?
You know, guess who was visiting us at E3 and was inside our booth, a meeting room? That was David Crane.
Your hero! Oh, congratulations!
David Crane came, and it was really amazing to stand between David Perry, Tommy Tallarico, and David Crane. And you have to know that Ghostbusters was one of my favorite games. Little Computer People was one of the first games I ever bought.
Which is the grandfather of SimCity and grandfather of Sims.
Yeah.
The Sims.
And I don't know how many quick shots I destroyed with Decathlon.
Yeah.
And of course I love Pitfall. So basically, and after David Crane left, because he wanted to see what we are doing with Amico, and he loved the concept. And immediately after the meeting with David Crane, I had the idea that we have to do a certain game for Amico. I mentioned it before. It's not Little Computer People. So now we are working on that game, or that kind of game that David Crane made.
So you heard it first, guys. David Crane is back from retirement, thanks to Hans Ippisch.
No, well, thanks. He came to visit Tommy, and so basically, to maybe put this to the right perspective, he was visiting us at these three. He's not actually working for us, but you're right. He was interested to see what we did because we. Actually, I didn't know that he left the business because of that.
He retired because at the Kickstarter he wanted 30 million and he didn't reach it. So he announced he is leaving the development industry.
Okay.
And only holding conferences talking about the past.
Yeah.
And that was like 8 years ago or something.
Well, but basically, he's right. But maybe Tommy he was at one of his talks. But actually, but the time when David Crane made perfect games, and we all know what games he made, and that's back to the roots. So basically, and what he did. So really, if you see, so Pitfall, Decathlon, Ghostbusters, Little Computer People,
he slimed me.
Yeah.
Great.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Wonderful. Is there anything else you can talk about? Is it that all top secret?
You can ask me any question.
So what's your next step? Because right now there's not much on the homepage. There's not much known about what is going next.
Well, we have the new trailer since our Gamescom trailer, where we show 17 games. And what is next? The console will be released on the 10th of October 2020, and between now and then you will see that we will announce the games, give more information about the games, about the hardware. So we have a lot to talk about, and there are so many details there we didn't mention at all. Mm-hmm. So basically there are many things more to come, but between now and end of August and next year October there's some way to go. So you can be sure we will have a constant flow of news.
Great. So last time I asked you what is your goal for the next 10 years, and you said you don't know. personally what you could reach anymore because it's so far ahead. But now you have a new perspective. What would you answer from the perspective now to this question? What's your goal for the next 10 years?
Well, very simple. To make Amico the best-selling console of the next decade. I think that we have the opportunity that we could sell more units than any other console. And if somebody thinks he's crazy, no, I believe in that. I think with the machine we have, we can actually, just have to know there are 3 billion casual gamers and there are 200 million core gamers. So basically, if we are doing things right, and we have the right products and do everything great, then we will have a dream come true and a really exciting. At least I would say, what is the next 10 years? It was like to make Amico. Actually, we sold more than 100 million units. Do we think that we can achieve that? I would say, yeah, why not? Why not? But maybe if we are selling 5 million units of Amico, well, fine. But to have a goal, I think we can outsell. If we are doing it right, we can outsell anything else because we are not a competitor, and we can't fight a battle with Sony or Microsoft. We don't have that money, but we have our own play field. I would say it's really we have, and in that segment, I think that we can do a lot, and it's really amazing to see. So basically, the one thing is that we want Amico to be successful, and the other thing is what's my personal target is to really put Germany or Bavaria on the worldwide map of developers. And for the first time ever, that we have launch titles that are being developed in Germany. That is something that really makes me will make me proud. Actually, we are working on Moon Patrol and some other stuff already, and that's something. Well, if you would have asked me in 1986, do you want to produce a launch title for the new Intellivision console? Well, that would be a dream. And really to work now with young developers from all over Germany and in Europe, that's a wonderful thing. So basically, I'm convinced that Amico will be successful, and as long as we are producing games that people like, and we are having good entertainment, I think that's our target, to do our job good. And the other thing is, will we sell 100 million units? I don't know, but you need to believe that something can work. And of course, if I think, I don't know if anyone wants to buy Amico anyway, then I wouldn't sit here. I sit here because Tommy Tallarico had an idea, a wonderful idea, and he said, well, and there are so many people that understand what he had, and it's great to work with Tommy and the whole team on that, and that's really something very special, and to be part of something special. And we will see where it ends, but I think we will have all the options.
Is the roll-up a hint that there's a new Jumpman coming? Because you have Jumpman in your roll-up.
No, basically, the Jumpman, that's all a part of the television history. So you have that in many older television games, but there is no Jumpman at the moment. But so that's the only thing that it's retro with a pixel look of this. But no, you have seen in the trailer, there is one game, I know the name, but I can't tell you, where you can see him running. So we will keep him as a kind of symbol for the console. So, but no, I can tell you, I know all of the games being in development, but there's no Jumpman.
But that is the reason why you put him as your logo.
Well, he's part of the logo since the revival, and he's also, and it's easy to remember and say, I understand. So it's a good sign, everybody immediately know what it's about. So.
Yeah.
And also, did you know? For us, it's a running man. We call him Running Man, and not a Jumpman. But one question: do you know what the first company my first game has been published by?
A Soldier.
Yeah. What company?
Oh, I don't remember what company it was.
Where was Turrican?
Rainbow Arts?
Okay.
Rainbow Arts.
And what is in the logo of Rainbow Arts?
3 running men. So it's in television then?
No. I started out with 3 running men in the logo from Rainbow Arts. Now I'm back with another running
now
man.
I get it.
So
Okay, it's
very funny because actually running man is something I didn't know that, but it was like, oh, because that was just when I had my anniversary back in July, 33 years, and there you could see it was lying next to each other. It was the logo of Rainbow Arts, and suddenly the logo of Intellivision was like, great. And it was always great. So to work for a company with a running man, and the logo is great.
But that's a coincidence, I think.
Yeah, yeah, of course it is. But you know, there are so many coincidences where you say, is it a coincidence or why is it? So Tommy would say, you know, Hans, we've been learning all our lives to do what we have to do now. I know Tommy since 25 years or 28 years or whatever, and all I've done in the past 30 years, knowing about the game media business, knowing about games development, knowing about public authority, about retail, all of that that I have learned at my time at Computec and everywhere. That's all I need now for doing television. So is it a coincidence? Sometimes I think, well, it has to be like that.
Okay.
And for example, that
Faith,
yeah. Fate. It's about fate. And for example, there are so many things happening that I didn't know that if somebody would have told me that this will happen or you have to do that, it's impossible. But there are things happening that it's like that, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm always positive. You know, I'm always positive. What is that? And
great. You are smiling.
Yeah.
You are totally doing the right thing. I'm so thankful for that. Thanks for so much insight.
Great, thank you.
Great.
And and hopefully next year at that time we will sit here playing the launch titles already.
With a big screen and
Big
some
screen,
examples.
Yeah. That's
Sure.
So probably we should fix the appointment for next year in August already.
Of course we
And
can.
then
Yeah.
and then we will play Moon Patrol and Asteroids and all that stuff.
Like from my childhood, but I played it when I was 5 with my grandfather on the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
Thanks
great.
a lot, Hans.
Thank you. Yeah.
Great.
Great.